Welcome back to the Big Leagues podcast. David and Isaac back again. We got the NFL season about to be underway. Going to jump in with some division winners. Starting off with the AFC East, we got the Buffalo Bills favored at plus 170, New York Jets plus 180, Miami Dolphins plus 200, and the New England Patriots coming in at a whopping plus 2,800. Uh, who are you picking to win that division, Isaac? Patriots, I'm assuming.
Yeah, probably. I think I'll probably take the Dolphins this year, surprisingly.
Hmm.
Um,
Wasn't
I
expecting
mean,
that one.
I just think, Bills losing Diggs. I like how they brought in, Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely relied on the run game a lot to end the year, so I think that's still gonna be there. But they also lost like quite a few pieces on defense, which, concerns me. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, like guys that have been there for a long time.
And
So
on the O line too, they lost a lot of
yeah, they
pieces.
did too. So like just all that and how McDermott like barely kept his job. Like I don't have a ton of confidence in the Bills.
Mm.
And I just think the Dolphins got a top five offense. And if their defense can, they're getting Jalen Ramsey for a full year. And if their defense can hold up, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clearly a three-horse race. All three of those teams are really good. All of them have a good chance. Like the odds reflect that. It's all pretty even. For me, I'm going with the New York Jets. I'm big on the Jets this year. They went 7-10 last year with Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle at QB. Now they're bringing in a multiple-time MVP, a legend of the sport, in Rodgers. Yeah, he's coming off that big injury at that age. Like hard to say, but I mean, he's not a guy that really relies on his athleticism. Like for him, it's his brain and his arm, which is not going to be affected. So I think it reminds me a lot of the Brady Bucks actually. Like their depth chart was just loaded at every position, and they had Jameis Winston, and they bring in Brady and win the Super Bowl. I think we could be seeing a similar thing here.
I don't know. Like I think they'll be good, but I wouldn't start putting up a banner yet.
Well, I'm not putting it up, but I think they're definitely a contender. I mean,
I mean,
like
like
they got Garrett Wilson, who I think is an elite wide receiver. I think bringing in Mike Williams was a good pickup. Like kind of a guy that struggles to stay healthy, but if he's on the field, he's a damn good player, and that's a good wide receiver too for Rodgers. They've kind of shored up that O line, brought in some tackles. Like, I think for them, it's just can that offense stay healthy? I think that defense is going to be elite no matter what. I want to see Hassan Reddick show up to camp or just to play. That would be good because if they add him to that defense, I mean, that defense is going to be unreal. So I just think that when you have a defense like that and you have Rodgers, I think you're for sure going to be, at least be in contention.
yeah. I mean, so would you have the Bills or the Dolphins next?
I would take the Bills. I just think like any team with Josh Allen, I think is always going to be in the mix.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down to for me. I mean, Dolphins are a good team. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and say, oh, they got no shot. Like they're gonna go 7-10. Like I'm not gonna say that, but that's just the way that I'd order it. Would
Yeah.
you have the Bills at too as well?
Yeah, I would. I would.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I could see them all kind of being like similar, like 11-6 teams, like 10-7 teams. Like I think, because they'll have that's like four tough division games that they're gonna have to play against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're gonna catch a loss or two in there for sure. And then, they all kind of finished pretty well last year too. So I imagine like they got some like decently tough schedules. So I think it's gonna be really I think like this will probably be one of the tightest races for the division lead.
I'd agree. Uh, Moving on to the AFC North, another premier division. My Steelers are in that division. Ravens favored at plus 125, Bengals plus 165, Browns plus 550, and the Steelers coming in at plus 700. A little bit disrespectful, but besides the point. Who do you
Yeah.
got in that division?
I'll take the Bengals. I'm not I'm not crazy in on the Ravens this year. I mean, they lost quite a few pieces on defense. And like besides Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, they really got nothing in the passing game. Like I know they brought in Derrick Henry, but like am I expecting Derrick Henry at 30 years old to, play 17 games this year? Like, not really. Like, yeah, I'm sure when he's on the field, like, it'll be really hard to stop when they get in the red zone. But I just think kind of, losing a few pieces on defense. They also lost their defensive coordinator. And if they're playing in, like, arguably the toughest division in football as well. So it's not even like I'm saying they're going to be bad. I just think the Bengals kind of have I think the Bengals are getting slept on a little. Like, I know the odds weren't that bad, but like, I just think, healthy Joe Burrow, T. Higgins is going to be there. Jamar Chase going to be there. Like, you don't need much more for a good passing attack. So, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Bengals. Who do you got?
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that one. I also got the Bengals. Like, pretty much will just echo everything that you said. I mean, Joe Burrow was hurt all last year, and now everyone's going to act like the Bengals, like, they're kind of not really talking about the Bengals that much.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget they were at a Super Bowl, like, not that long ago. And just, the Ravens just lost so much. Like, people don't seem to be factoring that in one bit.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, losing Mike McDonald, their DC, I think that's going to be a huge loss. And they got some their O-line, they lost some guys on their O-line.
Yeah.
They lost some guys on the defense. Like Patrick Queen's a big loss for them.
Yeah.
Just so many losses and not too much brought in. We'll see kind of maybe if they can have some rookies or some other guys step up. I mean, I think they'll be a good team. Obviously, they'll be competitive, but I don't know. I think people could be surprised at them. I don't see them doing too as well as most people expect.
I mean, I'd still probably have them at like 10, 11. Like, they could even win up to 12 games, like, I'm sure. But I just, like, there's so many, like, when you're playing 6 tough divisional games and, like, you were the 1 seed last year, so the rest of your schedule is going to be tough too. I don't know. I just think kind of the odds are. I wouldn't have them as the favorite, to be honest. I mean, I guess we just picked the Bengals, but like, still, like, I think I probably would I think the Browns are kind of a little shaded there at +5. Like, I could see the Browns finishing above the Ravens as well.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to Deshaun Watson. If he's kind of stinking like he has been in the past a bit, then I don't know how well they'll do. But if we can get back to like peak Texans Deshaun Watson, like they'll be as good as anyone as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well,
I love Deshaun's game back in those days with the Texans. He was a top 5 QB in my eyes. So it's been tough to see him not as well. But if he gets back to that level, watch out.
And I'd say they got like an all around, like, one of the premier all around rosters, like, not even including Deshaun. Like, we've known about their O-line, we've known about their defense, and like Amari Cooper, they brought in I mean, I'm kind of big on Jerry Jeudy, like, not crazy big, but good wide receiver 2 there. Elijah Moore, wide receiver 3. They got Njoku. Nick Chubb's coming back. Like, they're just they're very well rounded. If Deshaun can give them top 15 quarterback play, like, I just think they'll be a good team.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like, I don't even want to slander your Steelers, but I'd probably. Would you have them? Where would you have them? Before I say, but I guess you can guess.
Like, I don't know. Could they finish 4th? Obviously, they could finish 4th. Like, I think they'll finish in at 3rd. I'm very optimistic for this season. I mean, like, any team coached by Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. I mean, the quarterbacks that have been coming through this organization the last few years, like Kenny Pickett's about to be the quarterback 3 for the Eagles, like Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Doc Hodges, like Big Ben that couldn't throw the ball as like more than 15 yards down the field, and we're still having winning seasons. So are Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, are they going to light it up and give us top 10 QB play? Probably not, but I don't think we need top 10 QB play. I think we just need to have better than Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. And I think between the two of them, surely one of them can give us that. Made big changes to the O-line, brought in some rookies with high upside, brought in Patrick Queen. You know, if we can have a healthy season, I think maybe one team has some bad injury luck and they fall down to 4. I think we could either 2nd or 3rd, I think, is what I'm saying. But again, pretty optimistic as a fan.
I mean, like, I could see you guys being like around like 9-8, 10-7, 8-9. Like, I think you'll be in the ball. Like, you'll be in the mix all year. But you got the toughest division, I'd probably say, and I don't like. I think, like, I honestly trust your quarterback play. I believe you'll get good quarterback play. Like, I think Russ is I think people are kind of putting him in the graveyard when he's not really there. And like, I think Justin Fields has franchise quarterback potential. Like, I think kind of the Bears kind of scapegoated him. And
Yeah, like he was just in such a rotten situation.
Yeah.
You give him like a solid organization with a great head coach and some weapons, and well, weapons aren't that great, but
yeah, like I
you
think
know, like a good system, I guess is a better way to put it. But yeah. So you think they're last, do you? Or?
Well, I'll give it. I'd probably go Bengals 1, Ravens 2, Browns 3, Steelers 4.
That's fair. So who do you think gets that number 1 QB job? That's about to be announced probably any day now.
For the Steelers?
Yeah.
Like I think Russ. Like I didn't even know there was like they were decided. I thought they kind of promised Russ the job.
Well, initially, and then he was injured for camp, so Fields was taking all the reps at QB1, and the decision's coming down to the wire. They're still like, as of a few days ago, they're still kind of making that decision. So I'm really curious to see who they end up picking. My gut feeling is that they'll probably start off with Russ just because he's the veteran, you know, been around for so long, so accomplished, and I feel like that's kind of the thing that Mike Tomlin would do, give the nod to the veteran. And if Russ comes in, he's balling out, then ride with him. If he struggles, then you go turn to Fields and see what you got, because you're not committed to Russ. You're paying him the league minimum, and you got Fields. I think you need to see what you got from him. If he sucks, then okay, now we're gonna have to figure something out. If he starts lighting it up, then there you go. You got a franchise QB. So
well, I think too, like if you start with Russ and he comes out and he stinks it, you can go to Fields and like kind of Russ will understand. Like, you know, he's getting later in his career anyways. But like if you go to Fields and he shits any like first few starts, like he doesn't play well, then you go to Russ, like that'd probably do some damage to Fields' confidence. So I think it just give Russ a few games, and then if you're like a 2-4 team, then maybe you say, all right, Russ, well, not looking like we're gonna make the playoffs with you. We're gonna see what we got with Fields here. So I don't know. I don't think you're in a bad situation though at quarterback right now for the first time in a while for the Steelers.
Yeah, definitely by far the best we'll have had in a while. Moving on to the AFC South, we got the Texans at +105, Jaguars +250, Colts +320, Titans +900. To me, I got this one. I'm pretty locked in on Texans.
Yep.
I think they're going to be a top team. I think they'll be in. I don't know how well they'll actually do in the playoffs necessarily, but I think they're in contention for like best regular season record in my opinion. I think they're going to be unreal this year. You know, CJ Stroud, year 2, dynamic rookie season. They bring in Diggs. They got Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. That's a pretty unreal receiving core. Brought in Joe Mixon. Last year, their O-line they were down to third strings. Like their entire O-line was injured. They bring in Danielle Hunter on D. Derek Stingley's coming back from injury. They drafted a few promising other guys in the secondary. Year 2, Will Anderson. I mean, they were a pretty good team last year. I think their trajectory is completely going upwards. Do you agree with that? Or
I'd completely agree. I don't know if I'd agree with best record in the league in the regular season, but I think it should be like minus like 250, to be honest. Like I think I might go put my house on that, to be honest. But like Jags, like if the Jags were gonna be good, it should have been last year. Like
yeah.
Like they were coming off, they had that big win in the playoffs. They snuck into the playoffs after being terrible. And then they bring in Ridley and a few guys, and like, all right, okay, Trevor Lawrence, like MVP season low, and then they stunk. So like I think it's Texans for sure. Like minimum they win 10 games, I think, and I think 10 games wins that division for sure. Like there's just no way they do worse. Like unless injury somehow gets them, I just couldn't see them doing worse than last year.
Really, if Stroud goes down, that to me that's really the only way, or just complete like rotten luck somehow.
Yeah, because like I think like I'm like their defense. I just believe like I'm a big Will Anderson guy, and then you bring in Danielle Hunter, and I think Stingley, could take a jump into like top 10 corner conversations after this year. So I'm big on the Texans.
Can I give you a sleeper team?
Sure.
Indianapolis Colts.
Second?
I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to surprise some people this year. I think they're going to exceed expectations. I mean, Anthony Richardson, bit of an unknown. I mean, he's got so much raw talent. Like, reminds me a lot of Cam Newton, just so dynamic with his feet. The jury's still kind of out if he can throw the ball, but I mean, Shane Steichen as the coach there, he's done some good work with guys in the past, and I think the Colts will be sneaky. Maybe not. I don't know if they'll, like, again, I have the Texans really high, so I don't know if they'll necessarily win the division, but I could see them sneaking into the playoffs, maybe, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, even though, like, probably this would be one of the weaker divisions, I think the Titans aren't even that bad.
Like, I think they're a bit underrated, to be honest. I mean, like, they're plus 900 to win the division there. Like, not that they're going to sniff it, but.
Like, they got Ridley, they got D-Hop, they got Pollard, they brought in the L'Jarius Sneed, who I think's easily a top 10 corner in this league. They got Jeffrey Simmons on, like, I mean, the rest of their defense is not great, but I don't know. I would have kept Vrabel.
I'll be curious to see what Will Levis is this year. I mean, people are quick. Like, he was only just a rookie, and people are so quick to say he sucks. But, you know, let's see how he develops. I mean, maybe he could end up being – I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 QB or nothing, but I wouldn't be so quick to kind of throw him into, like, a shitter as a shitter.
Like, I think Titans will probably be, like, set. Like, I could see them winning 7 games. Like, I could see them be, like, 5 to 8 win range. But I'd still probably have them last, and then I'd go probably Colts, Jags. That's how I'd probably rank it.
Yeah, that's what I would do as well. And then moving on to AFC West, we got the Chiefs as the favorites, minus 250. Chargers, plus 350. Raiders, plus 900. Broncos, plus 1,600. Chiefs really only lose this division if Mahomes gets hurt, really. I think that's fair to say.
I think if Mahomes gets hurt, they probably still win the division, to be honest.
I think they'd have a chance.
Like, they got Wentz. Wentz would win that division with the Chiefs.
Former MVP candidate.
Wentz would be like a landslide for the second best quarterback if Mahomes got hurt. Like,
did he win the MVP?
Wentz? No. I think he
was like about to, and he got hurt right at the end of the year.
I think maybe Brady won that year. I don't know, because he was like a lock for it, and then he got hurt. But like, this division smells. Like, this is, besides the Chiefs, it's probably the worst division. Like, yeah. I'll go.
I mean, see, I was really for a long time, I was out on the Chargers big time, just because, you know, they lost Keenan Allen, they lost Mike Williams. Like, their pass catchers are pretty bad. They also lost Eckler. I mean, Eckler wasn't that great last year, not that big a loss. Mike Williams was hurt most of the year, not that big a loss. Keenan Allen, that's a big loss. He was a big part of that team. But they got rid of Brandon Staley, a god-awful, rotten, no-good coach, like one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. And they brought in Harbaugh, who everyone seems to be enamored with. I think he might be a tad bit overrated, but he's damn sure an upgrade over Brandon Staley. And I'm a big, big believer in Justin Herbert. And it's about time that he kind of makes some noise. You know, I've been making excuses for him every year, but he's going to have to take a step and, you know, make the playoffs one of these years. And we'll see. You know, they drafted a big-time tackle, going to look into the run game. I think they could be sneaky. Again, Chiefs are winning this division probably 11 times out of 10, barring Mahomes' torn ACL. But I think Chargers will do all right this year.
Like, they're clearly second, like, not even close. Because we're dealing with probably 2 of the bottom 3 teams in the league here with the Raiders and the Broncos. Like, I think, honestly, that's what's interesting in this division, who finishes last between, like, who would you have above each other? Like, I'd probably go Raiders above Broncos. Like, at least
I would actually go Broncos above Raiders.
Really?
I just changed that recently. You know, there's been some buzz about Bo Nix. Oh. I'm a big hater. But I'm a believer in Sean Payton. You know, he's been a good coach in this league for a long time. He miraculously won 8 games with them last year, even though their defense was putrid. And he's enamored with Bo Nix, apparently. So he knows more about football than I ever will. So, you know, again, I think they're going to be a bad team. But I also think the Raiders are going to be worse. It's more
Like,
about the Raiders being bad than it is the Broncos being
I
good.
just think, I mean, like, at least the Raiders got like Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. Like, Broncos got Pat Surtain and nothing. Like, literally
Yeah,
nothing.
they're pretty bad. I mean, their wide receivers are bad.
Everything, their whole line's bad. Everything on the defense except like they got rid of Justin Simmons when they could have, like, I don't even think they're paying anyone. So like they just like, yeah, we don't want another good player. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe Sean Payton squeaks them like 5 wins and the Raiders went like 3. But who knows? Like they're both gonna
Like the Raiders could be a blow it up team too, in my opinion.
Like
I've heard reports that Devontae Adams is guaranteed to be a Jet. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But yeah, if they start slow, and I mean for them it's the quarterback situation. They got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, like both two bottom feeders in the QB rankings. To be honest, I don't know why they didn't roll the dice on Fields, or like you could have even signed Ryan Tannehill. Even he'd be an upgrade of what you got. Like I don't know how you trot out Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell.
Like
and
why would
fans in the eye?
Why would they not, like? Would you guys give up for Fields a 6th, a 5th, and a 6th?
Yeah,
whatever.
That might have been a 5th, maybe.
I would have given up. I would have probably given up, like, realistically, if the price was set at like a 2nd round pick, like I'd probably do it. To be honest, like they're rolling out Minshew and O'Connell, and like they got like they got like all these big time players. Like they just paid Christian Wilkins too. Got Max Crosby, Tay, Jacoby Myers, brought in Brock Bowers, but like Minshew, or we believe in Minshew. I don't know. I like Antonio Pierce too, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. The players actually like him. They like damn near had a parade when they won the first game after firing Josh Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to the NFC East now. Philadelphia Eagles favored at -135. Cowboys coming in at second, +170. Commanders +1,000. Giants 14-1. The Eagles, like there's been money coming in on the Eagles, man. They were more in like the +100 range for a while. I know there's some like extension issues with the Cowboys. Dak didn't get a deal. Micah didn't get a deal. CD didn't have a deal. He just got signed today to a big deal. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on that on that division?
To be
I think like probably a 2-horse race, but go ahead.
It's for sure a 2-horse race, but like I thought it'd be a little closer. Like I'm huge. I'm actually like I think the Eagles are gonna have the best record in the NFC probably, but like I still thought like the Cowboys would be like in the like a little more in the mix. Like I thought people were kind of sleeping on the Eagles, like even after they kind of got Saquon and had a good draft. I mean, the Eagles always draft well, to be honest. Like I honestly can't remember a draft where they like, except when they drafted Jalen Reagor over Jay Jettis. I mean, that was probably
everyone's allowed to make one mistake, you know. Yeah. They've more than sure made up for it, in my opinion.
Like I think Jalen Carter is like gonna cement himself this year as like a future guy, and like I mean, you know how big of a fan of Saquon I am, but like it's always like, man, he's got no O-line, like he's getting hit like at the line of scrimmage. Now he's going, like, I know they lost Jason Kelce, but like unanimously the best O-line last year. Yeah, they lost, but I'm pretty sure like they're big on, I don't even know their backup center.
Cam Jurgens. He was like, I think he was like a 2nd round pick years ago.
And apparently like they're like they think he's gonna be good. So like Jalen Hurts' sake, like their weapons are just on another world.
And I mean, like, I also agree. I got the Eagles big time, but even the rest of that O-line, like, it's still a damn good O-line, Kelce or no Kelce.
Yeah. Like, Lane Johnson's pretty unanimously the best right tackle in the league. And then they got Landon Dickerson. They're good all around. And, like, try to find a hole in their defense, to be honest. Yeah. Like, maybe linebackers and safety a little. I mean,
I like what, like, they brought in Devin White. I'm big.
Oh, yeah. I even forgot they brought in Devin White.
Yeah.
So, and they went double corner. They went Cooper DeJean and
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
Like 2 of the top secondary.
And they like in the draft. Like I know people like slander and Bradbury and Slay, but like they can at least Slay for sure. Like they can give you some production in the secondary. Yeah. And then like potentially Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis take like they just got Georgia's whole D line. So
brought in they kind of
brought in Bryce.
They
Huff.
lost Hassan Reddick, but they brought in Bryce Huff. I mean, I'd say that's probably a net negative, but I think they got a lot better in so many other areas that I think there'll be a big difference. And for me too, like it's pretty well documented that Jalen Hurts was injured like most of last year. And I think people are kind of sleeping on him. I think he's gonna have a big time year this year and kind of reinstate himself as a top tier QB.
Also, the Eagles were 10-1 to start last year. I think people are kind of forgetting that. Like they just had their team chemistry and just like maybe it was Jalen Hurts being hurt as well. Like they just collapsed. Mm-hmm. And like I thought maybe like in the playoffs they'll get it going. Like losing the Bucs, like that was unacceptable. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think they'll be back in form for this year. And then I'd probably Cowboys for sure. And then like to be honest, like this is close for me too. Like I'm not big on the Giants, but I'm also not big on the Commanders. But like I think the Giants defense could be sneaky all right.
Yeah, I think they got a couple of good pass rushes for sure.
Like Brian Burns, Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence. Like that's probably a top 3 D line in the NFL.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Everywhere else though, like it's probably not great. But
see, I'm just about as out as you can get on Daniel Jones. So when you're trotting him out, him and Drew Lock, like the fact that I even brought in Drew Lock and that there was conversations about him being the starter just goes to show how in shambles they are at QB. And that's, to me, why I would go to the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be electric this year. And they've kind of – they had Sam Howell last year. So to bring him in, they've kind of made some improvements all around, brought in, I think, a few O-linemen to try to help that a bit. It's still might be a bit shaky, but –
I think, like, for me, it's like they just traded, like, most their defense away last year, which is concerning. Yeah. Like their pass rush is the worst in the league. They still have Daron Payne, do they? I think so. Anyway, it doesn't because he was like he doesn't want to be there if he's still there. Yeah. Like he was having all those interviews, and they're the only one he didn't trade, so sucks for him. But like I see Command are like
brought in your boy Jeremy Chin.
Yeah, actually, and Frankie Lou, like Bobby Wagner too. So, I mean,
not too excited about Bobby Wagner.
No, but like Frankie Lou, like I can tell you, like he produces.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Like he's kind of like a linebacker that like can blitz really well, get some sacks for you, and I don't know, Jeremy, like few decent underrated players, but like I'd say probably both 6-5 4-win range teams for me. I don't know if you have Commanders like a little higher than that.
I think their ceiling, like I could see a world where everything goes right and Jaden Daniels is a stud and they win like 7 games, but that's like absolute ceiling. Yeah. Move on to the NFC North now. The Lions plus 130, Packers plus 200, Bears plus 330, and the Vikings at plus 950. This is an interesting division. I know I got my team, but I'm curious to see who you got in this one.
I mean, I'll probably go Lions at one. Like it's closer than I think it's closer than people think it is, though.
I've heard a lot of Packers buzz. Like a lot of people are big on the Packers this year.
Like when people were down on the Packers last year, like I was like kind of in on them, and then now I'm kind of the opposite way. Like I think people are like glazing them a little too much, but. Like, I'd probably go, to be honest, like, I got Packers last.
Really? Wow.
I do. So wow. I would go Lions. I would go, like, Vikings and Bears. I think Vikings, like, I'll go Bears, I'll go Lions, Bears, Vikings, Packers.
Interesting. I wouldn't agree with that one bit. I think the Packers will come second. I think they'll be around a 10-win team. I hear a lot of people I hear some people picking them to kind of go to the conference championship game, go to the Super Bowl. I say, okay, well, pump the brakes there. But I think they'll definitely be a good team and be right in the mix for the playoffs. But to me, I think the Lions are just a juggernaut. They're pretty loaded all around. They got some young players too that could take steps up. They brought in DJ Reader to kind of shore up that D line a bit. I think they brought in the cornerback that used to play for the Bucks.
Yeah, corner.
Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis, yeah.
Yeah, I'm big on that move as well. That was definitely something they needed to do. So I think they'll be a top team in the NFC.
They drafted their corner too, first round.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but
he's from Alabama. He's like it wasn't Kool-Aid McKinstry, but he's supposed to be he's supposed to be like unreal.
Terrion Arnold.
Terrion Arnold, yeah.
Yeah, he's like one of the best corners in the class, so we'll see what they got out of that. They even drafted an S. Rakestraw Jr. too, who's kind of a decent prospect, so we'll see.
They got rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so that's a big positive there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them, it's that else. They did lose some. Like their wide receivers are a little shaky, in my opinion. But for them, their strength is just their O-line. I mean, Penei Sewell is elite, like future Hall of Famer. Frank Ragnow is like one of the top centers in the league.
Whoa, future Hall of Fame. Let's
Sewell?
Like, I don't know if we can say that yet.
He's unreal. You wait. You mark this conversation.
I'm not
in 5 years, he'll be a unanimous future Hall of Famer.
Here's my problem with the Lions. I've never been and I never will be a Jared goofball believer. Like, I don't care that he's in a perfect system. Like, put Darnold. I'm telling you, put Darnold in there, and he's not doing too far off. Like, I'm serious, man. Like, Goff.
They made the conference finals.
Okay, well, here's the thing. That first of all, actually, when that Rams team made it too, they Todd Gurley like the best run game. Like he gets carried by his run game and his O-line. Like I'm not saying
like, he just does what he's got to do. I mean,
but like
being a top 5 QB, but
I would not have like he's making top 5 QB money. Like I'm
that's just how the QBs work. Like
if I'm the Lions, I would have shown him the door and like just got a better option. Like, I mean, I guess they could afford to pay him, but whatever.
No, he gets the job done good enough that you got to keep him when you got such a good team. You can't roll the dice and bring in Sam Darnold. I mean, I know.
But like you put Russell Wilson on the Lions, like I don't think they take a step down. I don't. I seriously don't think they take a step down.
No, you're tripping on that.
Anyways, what do you got the division 1-4? So you got Packers at 2, Lions at 1.
I think I would go Bears at 3. I think the Vikings are definitely underrated a bit, but
because of Darnold.
I think Darnold's gonna surprise some people this year. I give him as much shit as anyone, especially since you're such a big fan of him apparently. But
I'm not even.
I do think he's set up really well. This is the best situation he's ever been in. He's got 2 elite tackles. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Jordan Addison. He's got T.J. Hawkinson. They just brought Aaron Jones.
Like you can give Justin Jefferson Bo Levi Mitchell, and he's still putting up 15 hundo this year.
Yeah, I mean he was still unreal with like Jaron Hall
and Josh Dobbs. Like he's still like by far he's like looking like the best receiver in the league with those bombs.
Now, what do you think about the Bears this year?
I had them second, and the reason, like, I just think their passing attack is gonna be like so good. Like,
yeah,
I
think they have the best wide receivers in the league.
I still think Keenan Allen's a top 10 receiver, and I think DJ Moore's like push, like he's like 10, he's 10 to 12 or maybe 9, maybe 13, maybe 4. Like he's around that range too.
I have him between 10 and 16.
Okay, like that's fine, but like Odunze is probably top. He's for sure top 2 wide receiver 3 in the league.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. Hard to say with a rookie like that, but
like they got a reliable
Swift too.
Yeah, no, I'm big on DeAndre Swift too. Like he's a good pass catcher. Like he looked good on the Eagles and with the Lions. Like I think like people are just kind of down on him a little, but Cole Kmet improved O-line. Like for me, it's just
I'm nervous about the O-line. That's where I'm nervous about.
But like I don't know. I think for me, it's their defense like that I'm concerned about.
Really, I think their defense will be good. You know.
Like they got Jalen Johnson and they got Montez
Yeah.
Sweat, but like, do they got? I
Yeah,
don't.
I like their linebackers.
They got Tremaine Edmonds as a linebacker, which, like,
They
yeah,
brought in Kevin Byard.
yeah,
I
like
mean,
Kevin Byard's like
might be a little past his day, but
he's like, I'm sure, like, if their defense can like scrounge out like top 20 units, like 20 to like 15 unit in the league, like I'm sure they can. Like, I think they're probably like 8-9, like ceiling's probably 10, like maybe like floors like 6-7. Like I think they're an upside team. Like if Caleb comes in, he's that guy. Like I just don't see a way like their offense isn't like a top 10 offense, to be honest.
yeah, I'd peg them in as between 7 and 10 wins personally. I think they'll be in contention for a playoff spot potentially. It's gonna I think it's gonna come down to Caleb Williams. Like I don't see a world where Caleb Williams just completely sucks. Like we've seen some of the preseason highlights, made some spectacular plays. I think it just comes down to like how unreal is he, because I would say like we've had some big time QB prospects. Like I think it's fair to say he was the biggest QB prospect in the last however many years. So
Like
we'll
probably
see how it comes out.
like since Trevor Lawrence for sure.
Yeah, I mean I'd argue maybe a bit more, to be honest.
Like Trevor, like I know people, but like at his time, like I remember him being
Definitely
pretty unanimous.
And like Burrow was pretty highly touted as well.
Yeah, they were.
Moving on to your NFC South, we got the Falcons at -130, Bucks +300, Saints +400, and your Carolina Panthers coming in at 11-1. Floor's yours.
Like that's ridiculous. First of all, like I don't care. Like we're probably not going to win the division, but like don't be giving the Saints that much respect over us. Anyways, I'll tell you my division. I'll have the Falcons at 10-7. I'll give them 10-7. Like bringing in Judon before they brought in Judon, like probably 9-8. I mean, like, I'm gonna say it. I think Panthers are 7-10 or 8-9. I think that's second place. I think the Saints are 5. I think Saints are 5 wins, and I think Bucks are a 7-win team. I do. Like I think Bucks big step back for the Bucks this year. I mean,
give me the case for your Panthers winning 8 games.
Well, I'll give you the case for the Panthers. I think Bryce Young takes a big step. Like first overall pick. You know, everyone's kind of like everyone's down on the Panthers because you know what, like last year, worst team in the league by far. Like fair enough, but I don't think people are really projecting that he's going to take a step. I think they're kind of placing him as he's a bomber, like he's not good. And we brought in the 2 most expensive interior linemen in free agency this year. That was our biggest problem. We bring in Deontay Johnson, which wide receiver. Like we filled the holes like that we needed to fill. So like I think we're probably like 5 to 8 wins. Like I think like you're laughing, but I don't even think that's like necessarily egregious. Like 8 wins is probably on the high end.
Yeah. No. To be honest, as much as I like to give you shit, you know, it's fun to just chirp you and shit, but I think that like they're just in a bad division. Like Panthers 11-1, like could be some tasty odds there. To be honest,
what do you think of the Saints and Bucks this year? Like I'm assuming you have Falcons. I'm like maybe you have Bucks one, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I'd go Falcons. I don't feel great about it. I don't love the Falcons. I mean, they brought in Judon and they brought in Simmons, so that kind of adds up to their defense, but I'm a little nervous of Kirk Cousins, you know, coming in off that injury.
Like, I'm not as big as Kirk on as everyone else is. Like, he had Justin Jefferson and Diggs and Thielen for all these years, and, like, now he's kind of going to Drake London and Darnell Mooney. Yeah, like, they got Kyle Pitts and Bijan, too, but I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, I got to pick someone. I guess I'd go them, but, I mean, Buccaneers... I don't know. Like they were all right last year, you know. Like they won a playoff game.
I know they did, but I think they overperformed last year. Like
they still got Mike Evans. They still got Godwin.
Like you know, for me, I think I think their defense takes a like. I think their defense is like arguably going to be like a bottom 5 unit in the league, which is what scares me. Like they got no one in the secondary. like I couldn't even. They got
Antoine
fucking.
Winfield Jr.
They got
Jamel Dean.
like Jamel Dean is oh, they got like Antoine Winfield. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I just
he's an elite safety, but I mean kind of at corner like losing Carlton Davis, they really got nothing.
Yeah.
And then they got
they still got Levante David, Vita Vea. I mean, they definitely got holes on defense, but I mean, last year we were looking at them as a bottom team, like a bottom 3 team in the league, and they won the division, made the playoffs. So
I think that was
we'll
because
see.
Baker was projected as like a bottom guy in the league.
Yeah.
So like
he's probably due for a smelly season, to be honest.
Like Baker's about as bipolar as it gets at QB. Like I watched him with the Panthers. Like he like won the Browns a playoff game, and then he like PJ Walker's like clear and Darnold are named him the third string, like getting cut. So I don't know. I think their offense will be all right. Like they got Mike Evans, Godwin, Rachaad White, Baker, and they got their old line. Like beside Tristan Wirfs, I don't know, but I don't know. I think they're like.
You could make a case for Baker being the best QB in the division.
Could you? I mean,
I'd take him over Carr. We'll see what Bryce Young is year 2, but I'd take him over year 1 Bryce, and we'll see
Kirk
coming off that injury. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm.
That's also like kind of the reason. Like, if Bryce, let's say Bryce is the best quarterback in the division, like he just plays up to that level. Like, not saying that, like, if you can just win your divisional games in like the stinkiest division in the league, like you can be in the mix, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty low on the Saints this year too. I kind of like your Panthers in them against them in week 1, to be honest. In a divisional game.
Yeah.
Might even go in on the +4 just to get that field goal. But they're getting old, and they got Derek Carr, and their head coach sucks.
Their head coach sucks. Their O lines like might be the worst in the league too. Like they got no one.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Ramsich is gone, right, for the year.
Yeah, he's done.
He's their only good guy left.
They drafted Talise Fuaga, who could be good, but they got Saints legend Trevor Penning stepping up into a starting role this year. So can't feel too good about that.
Also, like their defense is like better like fall down the stairs. Like they got Cam Jordan and like Tyrann Mathieu, and like they got Marshawn Lattimore still, but like that they're getting up there. Is all I'm gonna say.
Demario Davis,
and like
he's about 2 years away from a nursing home.
You got their wide receiver 2 is Raheed Shaheed, but like they got Olave and Kamara, but they got nothing else.
Yeah. They drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry. Maybe he could step up.
No, I'm big on him. I wanted the Panthers to draft him over Leggett, but I'm happy with Leggett.
Moving on to the last division, NFC West, we got the 49ers -210, Rams +350, Seahawks +750, and the Cardinals at 12-1. Yeah. I think 49ers are the pretty obvious pick. They're just loaded top to bottom, but I do think that we might see them struggle a little more than maybe anticipated. Trent Williams still not reporting. Brandon Ayuk still not reporting. Could be getting dealt. I didn't even CMC's kind of banged up right now, isn't he? Like, what's his status?
I think with that it's a calf injury, and they're but I think from what I've seen it's really nothing, but they're sitting him for preseason, and people are kind of like getting concerned about that. Like they might be like hiding something, which
they could just be arresting him to be honest.
I think it's just like, with calf injuries, like you never know, but like I think they're just like maybe it's like a slight flare up, and then they're just like, all right, we're gonna make sure you're healthy for the regular season.
Yeah,
but I think this is a tough division this year.
I agree. I was gonna have a hot take here, but you're
gonna go Rams?
No, I still got the 49ers winning the division, but you give me your pick, and then I'll throw off a hot take.
I'll go Niners I'm gonna go Niners, to be honest. Yeah. And then do you want me to go my division, or you wanna give your take?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll go Niners. I'll go Rams. I'll go Seahawks, Cardinals. But like Cardinals, I got them winning probably 7 games. Like I think Cardinals will actually be like all right.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see. Obviously, I think like 49ers are gonna win the division. They'll make the playoffs. I think we see a team from this division make the playoffs, not name the Rams. I think one of the Seahawks or Cardinals gets in.
Well, I mean, so let's just say we got our division winners right for the NFC. I'd go them boys as a wild card team. Like,
Sure.
would you agree with that? Probably.
Sure.
I'd go.
I wouldn't say unequivocally, but we
I'd
can
go
put
someone from the North.
the North.
Like
Let's just say, let's agree to disagree on Packers. So I think
like,
that's pretty consensus.
let's just say Packers / Bears / Vikings.
Yeah.
Like at least one of them are making it.
Yeah.
And then like no one from the South except the division winner.
Yeah.
And then like I'd probably go like Seahawks or like another team from the NFC North. Or I mean, well, what like
Maybe.
so is there 3 wild card teams though? So Rams, like I think Rams are for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying no to the Rams this year.
Really?
I'm saying one of those other teams sneaks in.
Like I just think the Rams offense is so good. Like
yeah.
their I don't know what they're gonna do with the defense with no Aaron Donald, but
Yeah. That's what it comes down to me. I mean, hard to pick against Sean McVay, one of the top coaches. And they got Puka and they got Cooper Kupp. So with
and
Stafford
too.
I'm a little like I hate to like project this kind of shit, but like I got a bad feeling about Stafford this year. I could see him missing time, and they might have to turn to Jimmy G. Might have to step in when he gets back from his suspension. Like, and it's just the defense is losing Donald's a big loss, and that defense isn't really that great. But who knows? You know, they sometimes kind of make something out of nothing. So I don't want to count them out too much, but that's my hot take for this year.
I mean, like, it could happen. Like, if the Packers and, like, maybe, like, the Bears are good and Cowboys are good, like, it's going to be tough. Like, at least one good team's missing from the NFC. And, like, probably, like, 6 or 7 good teams from the AFC are missing.
Yeah. I mean, there's usually a lot of turnover in the playoffs. So it's pretty easy to just go chalk and say, pick every single favorite down the list. But that's just not how it's going to work out, you know? So sometimes you gotta pick some sleeper candidates. And I think to me, Seahawks or Cardinals, I'm saying one of them's getting in. I think the Cardinals are going to be good this year, man. Like, people forget that when they had Kyler Murray going, I know it's not the same teams. They had some guys that are gone, but they were a damn good team some of those years with Kyler. They brought in Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, they got some good players. So I think
they got Trey McBride, James Conner. I think they drafted Trey Benson as well. So, like, they got some weapons.
Paris Johnson's a good tackle.
Yeah.
Brought in Jonah Williams. I even think some of their guys on D, like Buda Baker, brought in Sean Murphy Bunting.
They brought in Chop Rod. Did they bring in Chop Robinson as well? Maybe they brought in. I thought they brought in at least one defensive guy.
Darius Robinson. I think he might be hurt though. Either him, one of the Robinson guys is hurt, but
okay. Well, and they brought in like a guy like in the top 40 on defense too. So, but like I think their defense is gonna have a lot of like they got Buda Baker, but
yeah,
I don't know who they got at corner to be honest.
They drafted Max Melton and they brought in Sean Murphy Bunting.
Oh yeah, Sean Murphy. Max, I mean, like when did they take this Max Melton? I'm not even familiar with him.
He was drafted 2nd round.
Okay. Anyway, it's like, yeah, like I think people are just underrating Kyler Murray. Like they were a 1 seed at one point, and it's like I think Marvin Harrison's gonna step in like probably right away, like top 25 receiver for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you want to give me your quick? We kind of broke down our playoff teams from the NFC. You want to give me your quick wildcard teams in the AFC, and then we'll sign it off.
Yeah. So I went Dolphins, I went Bengals, I went Chiefs, and I went Texans. So I will go Bills.
Yeah.
To get in. like I might go Bills, Ravens, Browns.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah.
that's probably what I would. I mean, like I kind of want to put the Jets in there, but like I think the Browns are gonna be good.
Fair enough. I don't hate it. I think for me, I think I'd go Bills. I'm gonna go Colts. And then to me, I think
Chargers.
it's probably another team out of the North. I'll say Ravens just because I will look like a clown if I leave them off, but I don't feel good about it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals or the Steelers sneak in over them. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are my playoff picks. That's who we got for our division winners. We'll be back with some more videos leading up to the NFL season. So subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this.